Moving on to season 13, and this is an odd season of the show because they changed narrators, but there's no real explanation as to why they changed narrators. And even though the new guy wasn't bad, I found myself wishing that the other guy would come back. Thankfully, he did. Um, but also, I gotta be honest with you, I don't really remember much from this season. Oh, I remember one of the contestants getting injured and then having to leave the competition. I remember that, and I remember who the final two were, and being surprised a little that one of them had gotten there, but it being pretty clear that the other person would win, and she did. And there's the fact that Jean-Philippe leaves again, and then you bring in this Marino character, but they didn't do anything with him this season, though thankfully they started doing that in later seasons. But when in later seasons the contestant Ro comes back, I had to look up who she was because she was part of this season and I didn't really remember it. Yeah, and it was kind of hard for me to watch it, but it wasn't as bad as season 10 or season 11, but just, I don't know, there's just something about it. I don't know. I'm sure that tons of you out there don't have this problem, but I do. Yeah. Now, season 14, this was a pretty good season, because, we had some very good, characters in this show, and then once you get to the Black Jacket bit, I was looking at them and going, yeah, even though it's really obvious who the final two are going to be out of you, and it's pretty obvious which one of those final two is also going to win, this is Black Jacket Brigade. I have a lot more faith in you than I have for quite a lot of other Black Jacket Brigades, and even other people on this show. They made it count, you know? And then, of course, there's Brett having to leave because of the injury, and I was really sorry to see that, because I'm like, yeah, that guy was a lock to get to just before the Black Jackets at minimum, and then that bit happens to him. That was the most sorry I'd ever been to see a contestant leave the show, man. So, not much more I can say. This was just a better season of the show than I had been used to. Right. And it didn't even bother me that, again, I was able to pick out a winner from about the halfway point, because it had been a really long time since that had happened. And remember, I liked those seasons where I was able to pick the people out generally, so, and improved, right. Moving on to season 15, which you'll notice I don't have the DVD of because they stopped making the DVDs, even though you could tell that they probably were going to, because seasons 15 and 16, if you view them on here, they're the areas where the commercial breaks happen, they're removed. So you could tell that they were planning to release them, but then they decided not to. But I kind of understand why, because this season, I mean, I did go through a long break between watching season 14 and watching this and future seasons, but just, again, you had a downgrade in contestants, but unlike 8 and 10, no real funny moments, minus Marino, and way less faith in the talented chefs, because Jared, even long before he was eliminated, I'm like, yeah, you're one of the more talented people, but man, dude, you keep having screw up after screw up, and then Manda getting through elimination after elimination like that. Even though she had more competence than everyone else named Amanda on the show, just... yeah, and then Ashley, I had her picked as a finalist for a while, but then she pulls a Corey, screws up once you get to the individual stage, and then gets eliminated in third place. And the editing really made it clear that that's what would happen, unfortunately. Yeah, I was sorry to see her go, but she screwed up big time. And this season's winner, even though I do feel like that was the right choice, no wow factor. Yeah. I bet most people write this winner off. Just not a good winner, yeah. And, like, I think really the only reason that these people got as far as they did in the competition was just because everyone else was so bad. Like, I'm sure that there's tons of people out there who agree with me that if this had been an earlier season, Ramsey would have eliminated them much earlier in the competition, or if you had taken the same group of people and have this be like the fifth season, Ramsey would have called this a huge failure. Just... I did not have faith in this group of people. It was a chore to get through this season, let me tell you. And then, bringing in that Aaron guy as the blue team's shoe chef didn't help. Like, he was just bland as heck. Yeah. No offense to him, okay? And I'm sure that he had to help the chefs out from time to time, but just... he added nothing. Yeah. Then we move on to season 16, and... it's as if no one learned from the prior season, except this time, most of the people were even worse. Because, like, the red team, you've got all kinds of people bitching at each other there, and this blue team, OMG, cannot even work together to save their lives. Because, like, I'm pretty sure that out of the 12 services that involved teams, I think it was, I'm pretty sure that they lost all but 2 of them, and they got kicked out of the kitchen, I think, 7 times in the first 10 services, and just, it was like, oh my god, how bad can you be? And, like, I think one of the last people eliminated from that team was like, ah, great, here we go to the blue team again to nominate more people for elimination. What's new? Pfft. Yeah. Pathetic. And then, now thankfully, the top 3 for this season were a little better than the top 3 from season 15, but then once they get to the top 3, it's as if everybody suddenly does a 180, because one of those 3 people, Heather, I was pretty sure she'd get to the final 2, and she did, but then Ramsey also lets Ryan be in the top 2, and I was like, what the heck? Like, what happened to the other chick there? Just like, what happened? You and Heather should have had that thing locked, and then you crumble. Huh? What happened? And then Heather, when she's choosing her brigade, even though she was almost crushing Ryan in the last challenges, just chooses the worst brigade, and she just handles them so poorly. I'm like, I don't even need to watch the last 20 minutes of this episode. I know that she's not going to win this. Oh my. Yeah, so this is probably why they didn't make any more DVDs, because these people suck! Seriously, they sucked! I'd have been more grateful that I finished a season. I was like, yes, thank God, Ryan beat Heather. Moving on! Seriously. Right. So then I got to season 17, and I'm like, okay, an all-star season, hopefully this is better, and thankfully it was, because this season was a delight to watch. Oh, sure, there were people that, screwed up early on, and then there were some people who got through a lot of bad situations. Like Robin, she was exactly the same that she was last time. Same amounts of struggle, gets to like the same point in the competition, Ramsey cuts her loose. And then there were some other odd choices for an all-star people there, because like Roe I didn't remember. Benjamin, I was like, you really want to invite him back after those jerkish comments? And like, let's be honest, you really only brought back both Elise and Jennifer to have them argue with each other. And also, I was like, why the heck aren't you bringing a lot of runner-ups? You know, Kevin, T, Paula. Like, yeah, it's odd that you aren't bringing them back. And where's Brett from season 14, or that chick from season 3 that Ramsey suggested that he could bring her back in a future season when she got more experience? Like, why didn't you bring these people back? Yeah, but as I said, this was a delight to watch. It was super easy for me to watch this, although one of the finalists, once they got to there, just... When did you become such a grouch, dude? Yeah. And also, as I alluded to, all the people from season 14, man, they performed. I was like, yeah, you did good, but at the same time, everyone from season 15, I was like, the moment I saw them, okay, I'm kind of glad you're back, but you're not gonna be any better. You won't. I even looked at Ashley, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's back. Wait. It's too soon. There's no way she's going to win this. Heck, I wouldn't be too surprised if she gets booted early. She was the first person on the red team out the door. Just, what the heck happened to her? Although, I did some looking up, and apparently she had a death in the family that happened right when this thing started, so maybe she wasn't totally in it, but, yeah. And then I do have one issue that I don't like. The elimination of Nick. I really do not like how it ultimately ended up being the decision of someone other than Ramsey, because I am a firm believer, okay, that if Ramsey had made the choice between Nick, Michelle, and Benjamin, I honestly think that he would have eliminated Benjamin. Because, like, Nick, he had been improving from where he was last time. And Michelle, she was just as good as she was the last time. It was just that there was no one to outshine her. Now, Benjamin, he did have jerky moments, but he had way less. But it wasn't until we got to the Black Jackets that I realized why that was. It's because he got so little airtime. So, like, yeah, it wasn't really much of a surprise to me when Michelle beat him. Although I was nonetheless a little sorry for him, because even though he was still a jerk in a couple of bits, he was better. Okay, he was better. So he had that going for him, you know, and like, had either Jay or Holly been a little bit worse in season 7, he might have been able to take one of those spots. So, yeah. But a good season, a good result, and I'm glad to watch this. And then also bringing in Christina from season 10 as the shoe chef, and then that jockey character. Yeah, you had more going on with the shoe chefs, and I love how Christina was better able to instruct and then stand up to the chefs when the behavior is odd, and then Jockey, you know how he was able to interact with everybody and be a little humorous there? Very good on them. They really helped make the season, in addition to everyone else. Yeah. I definitely approve of that. And then finally, season 18. I was really hyped about this season when it began, because they brought back some of the people that weren't at All-Stars that I'd wanted to see. Kevin, T, Brett, and then they made pretty good choices, such as Heather, Ariel, and I think there was one other good choice in there. Well, you get what I mean. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting, not quite fans versus favorites, but yeah, let's see these veterans whip these rookies into line. The rookies won, I think, every challenge. And the veterans were really not that great in the kitchen, which kind of goes to show to something that I didn't mention for the last season. You don't get better. It's just people, I guess, are more worse than you, because you would have thought, because out of everyone that they brought back last season and with this season, and the fact that there was only one person who didn't make the black jackets, although he probably would have if he had stayed, you would have expected them to have mastered this. But yeah, I get what Ramsey means. It's just like, huh? What's up with that? And while that did make it more interesting, especially since Ramsey ended up going to men vs. women again in the Ron kitchens, but he didn't switch to shoes chefs for some reason. That was weird. And there was some surprising eliminations, like tea right at the beginning. Like, what happened? I began to think it was more of a chore for me to watch this, but thankfully, once we got into the black jacket phase, things began to pick up again. Now, I was able to nod at people, and felt like a lot of the people there had a story. Brett getting to the point in the competition that he should have gotten the first time, and this time he had no injury. Mia, even though attitude-wise and a little bit up here being, she proved herself to have a lot more strength in her than other people thought. And then Motto, just that exit. Props, like refusing a prize not because you don't want it, but because you honestly think that you'll get more satisfaction by going back to your home and helping the people there. Respect. And then Aria, like, she, I'm pretty sure, was the first person that Ramsey said, keep your black jacket. And even though once she got to the black jacket phase, she got nominated time and time again, I'm like, it's really because you're getting outshined by Dave and Kevin. Those two have it locked. I think that there is something in you. And then she comes back here and she pulls a Dave and Kevin, never gets nominated or is never in danger of being eliminated up until the top two, and then she wins. And like that finale, that was, kind of intense, because I'm like, everything is indicating that Aria was going to win, but there's just enough of a possibility that she won't. But thankfully she did, and that saved the season, because even though it wasn't the easiest season to get through, the fact that she won, especially since Mia chose a terrible brigade. Yeah. And also the fact that she was able to recognize the town in Mia, despite I don't think they got along with each other all the time. Yeah. That was nice to see. And I know that they have filmed 19. They're just trying to figure out a release for the season, and I seem to recall that apparently Jay from season 7 is going to be the new shoe chef of the blue team. Well, that'll be interesting to see, because he might be able to offer them pretty good mentor advice like Christina keeps doing. Sure, he didn't win, but against anyone else from that season, along with a couple of other runner-ups, he would have won. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to it, though I really hope that when they release the episodes onto here, that they actually remember to take out the commercial break bits. Like, it only takes a couple minutes for you to do that. In addition to all the other editing bits that you're doing, why can't you do that? Yeah. And I do think it's a little bit of a bummer that they start with the DVDs, but I guess they just weren't selling enough, and the fact that we at least can get them publicly and that they're uncensored, you have to deal with what you got, and Yes, I would rather have them be uncensored than have them without the commercial breaks but with the bleeps, because just about everyone that watches this show is adults, and if you have like a 12-year-old, you know what Ramsey is saying 90% of the time behind the bleep. Right. Whew, so after talking for over an hour about the show, it's time to put it to bed. See ya.